right.
Are we good? All
Yes.
right. First of all, thank you for having me. I know that Zoom is a lot different than speaking in person, but I appreciate your time. Thank you all for coming to watch and sit and watch. My name is Haley Newman. Like Miss Carrie said, I am local to the area, born and raised in White County. Actually lived up on the UNG campus right before it went to UNG. We were North Georgia College. So that's my old stomping grounds. Love it. Um, Quick bio on my background. I have always been active in sports. I've always enjoyed. I'm one of the girls. You go to the baseball games, you go to the football games. Like I enjoy it. I don't want to go socialize. I want to go do it because the human body to me has always been fascinating. Um, and so there's not really much of my life that I don't remember not being active. When I was in college, I was going for um, a bachelor's in science. I was actually going to go to be a dental hygienist. So if that gives you part of my background, so much to say, human anatomy has always been top of where I progress to, where I feel most led to. Um, so I'm assuming you all are right there right now too, because you're in this course. You may be a freshman or you may be about to graduate, but I'm assuming that the human body and the study of movement is your primary focus. Um, so it's kind of interesting that you asked me on here because my story is a lot of a backward story, which is cool because most females, their stories go from when you lose 10, 15 pounds or you can move. Mine is actually the opposite. So I usually get really excited to share stuff like this because it shows such a wide change in where you're at right here and where you can take your degree that you're going to be using. Um, my story is a little bit different. After I had my first son, um, I remember stepping on the scale and weighing 115 pounds, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm way overweight. I've got to start with a trainer. So I started working with a personal trainer myself. And that first month, I gained 10 pounds in muscle. And for most people, like, oh my gosh, you gained 10 pounds of muscle. And I was like, yes, game on, let's go. So my whole life changed in that moment. And working with this personal trainer opened up such a passion of mine um, for what the human body is capable of and movements of the body and why we move, how we move to get the results that we want. And so in that moment, I was like, I got to go be a personal trainer. I have to. I didn't really even have a idea of what I wanted to do for it, but it was so much in the sense of I needed to know why our body moves how it moves and how we can accomplish so many different things just with something as simple as one or two movements. And so it really just kind of snowballed from there in a good way. I'm the type of person that when I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I don't really care what anyone else says. It's going to get done right then. So, couple months into training, I started pursuing my NASM or NASM certified personal trainer. 2018, I was certified, and then that was in August. And so then I just started snowballing with different certifications, and that is what I'm going to get into further. That's the cool thing about being in this field. There is never a limit to what you can continue learning or what you can really point your focus into. There is literally no limit at all. And that is the beauty of this. What you're going to walk away with your degree in this field is going to give you the world at your hands. So that's the great thing about it. The second that you say that there's nothing else for me to learn, then I'm just going to be real honest, pack up your stuff and finish. Because at this point right here, there will never be a limit to what you can continue to learn in this field. Let's see a little bit about me. Career path. So my certifications, NASM, I am a certified personal trainer. I'm not going to point you in one schooling direction or the other. Of course, obviously, there are going to be, you pay for what you get for in your education. Mine, and I know that yours is as well, is NASM, the National Academy of Science medicine. I think that's what it is. Yes. I always call it NASM. Isn't that really bad? That's bad. Um, so I am a certified personal trainer through them. I have a specialist in corrective exercise. Also have my specialist in group personal training, and I have my speed and agility quickness training. Um, so what you will learn as you go to research where you want to point your direction to and where you want to really study in, um, you're going to have hundreds of even thousands of options of where you want to direct yourself in. So I'm going to start off by saying, initially keep your horizon broad. Don't try and pinpoint it right then exactly which certification you have to have right then, because in the reality of it, you can have as many certifications as you want. I think in 1 year I knocked out 3 certifications. It's as much as you want to put your effort into. You're not going to be stopped at any point in time. 99% of these from NASM are all online. Um, so you can literally work whenever you want. Um, I do want to point out too, I'm not going to defer you again from one personal training from a degree to another. Being a corrective exercise specialist also enables me the ability, if I wanted to go work right beside a physical therapist or in a rehabilitation center after surgeries, um, injuries, surgeries, sports injuries, anything, that gives me the capability to work alongside of a physical therapist. Um, Again, I don't have those letters behind my name, but the training that you will get with your certification, you could work inside a rehabilitation center. And that goes as far as when there's elderly centers, when they're coming from hip rehabilitations, it goes from sports all the way A to Z, all the way. Um, I just wanted to point that out there because a lot of times that gets misconstrued. You can do more than just train with it. So, what my role as a personal trainer is, and this is something that I am overly passionate about sometimes, um, is the people that you come in contact with along your journey are literally trusting their lives in your hands. And that is a huge deal. It's first of all an honor. It's an honor that someone picks you to trust their life in your hands, whether that be they want to lose 10 pounds, whether that be they want to audition for a sports team, or whether that be an elderly lady that wants to get up out of her chair every morning. It is an honor that someone has chosen their actual life to put it in your hands. So never take that lightly. It is our role as professionals in the movement field to help people move. And honestly, there is no judgment whether they want to get up out of a chair or they want to run hurdles over and over all day long. It's our job what they come to us with. Um, so where I work at, and this is the beauty of being a personal trainer, I started at a corporate gym. And there's nothing wrong. Now, anything I say, I'm not going to dog anything. It's just been my personal experience. I trained at a corporate gym for about 2 years. And it really gave me a great start from right when I finished my certification. It gave me a lot of, I guess, outlines of how it is done in the real world. And, a lot of times it's really scary just going out. So it was great for me. But then I wanted to change things up on a larger scale. So when you're in corporate, any kind of corporate, you only can abide by their rules, which is fine. That's nothing bad. But I felt in my heart that it was time for me to move on to what I'm pursuing. And so I trademarked my name, essentially, Haley Newman Fitness. And so I work for my name. So my name is a legal business with the state. And that allows me to train and go and do wherever I want, whenever I want. I am my own liability. I set exactly what I want to do. I can go off of my mission statement and my mottos. And that allows me to train anywhere from other people's gyms to online to in my home, in someone else's home, in a park. There is no limits to that. And for me, that was what was really, I was being pushed into that direction, to break out of the corporate. Now, again, I know people that have spent their entire career in corporate and it has worked fabulous for them, and that's great. It was just for me, I knew that it was time for me to step and do something different. Now, I will say for a role model in this industry, it is going to be very important that you find a role model. Because I remember the first time it was time for me to train someone, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. Even though I had had all of this schooling, that's totally normal. And I'm sure that you were the same way your first time. It's like, no, I'm not qualified to do this. Yes, you are. But I will say finding a role model is going to be super pivotal in your timeline, because that person is going to help you. It's terrifying training someone for the first time. Let's be real. And I still get anxious if I have right now I have a client that I've been working with for 5 weeks. She had just had gastric bypass. And I started training her maybe 2 months after. And I was anxious. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've been doing this for a long time and I was actually still anxious. But you will learn that you will use that anxiety for fuel to really push yourself to give to that person. Um, so I don't think it's a bad thing that you keep those nerves. I feel like that just means you just care a lot about your job and what you're doing. So you will find a role model, is what I'm saying. And take this with a grain of salt. Anyone can be an Instagram trainer. Anyone can be a Pinterest uploader of any kind of workout. Find someone that, if you can't see them face to face, find someone that can back up their studies with science. That's very important. It's just a big deal. So be wise about who you choose to follow. I'm not trying to follow someone that only preaches keto. I'm not trying to do it. So I'm I'm just gonna advise you to do the same thing. Nothing about 1,200 calories. Nothing about running 10 miles on a treadmill. Be wise in who you allow yourself to give your time to. So a day in the life of me as a trainer, y'all, I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. We have a real good life. Now it's not always peaches, and cream, but average training day for me on the days I have, like this morning, I had a 4 a.m. client. So she actually comes to my house. I have a shop outside that I have set up with a full gym. And here's a lot of females don't love to come to a gym, so to speak, which is fine. I'm very protective over my clientele. And if they are not comfortable, I try and always have a full setup for them, me personally. So she does come to my house 3 days a week at 4 in the morning, but it's great. So I trained her. And the thing about you being a trainer, you can set up your sessions. If you want to train for 30 minutes, you train for 30 minutes. If you want to train for an hour, you train for an hour. You also set your price range yourself. So when I say that there is no limit, you can make $100 in 30 minutes. If you have 3 people training, easily. And so I say that the amount of effort you're going to put into your business is what's going to come out to you as a trainer. And that's just bottom line. Now, if you don't work, you don't make money. But if you work and you care about it and you pursue it, there is no cap of any kind of limit where you can go. So training days for me, it rotates around. I do train at a gym in Oakwood. So I have a couple of classes a week that I teach there. Now, again, with me being on my own, I can train classes at several gyms and I can continue to train at my house by myself. I sign no contract with anyone because I am a business myself. And so essentially these gyms contract me out as a business owner. And that was the smartest, wisest business decision for myself. Made things a lot easier. Now you do have to stay on top of your own taxes, but that's just what it is. So that will look different every day. Now, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have no clients, but I do that on purpose because I take those days for myself. Being a personal trainer, you will come to find that your whole life, your whole day is focused around other people's bodies, other people's goals, other people's ambitions, which is what we're called to do. but it's also extremely important to never pour from an empty cup. As a trainer, you can't wake up feeling like crap because you haven't been good to your own body and expect other people to be good to their body under your watching. That's just not realistic. So being very mindful of keeping a steady line and you're going to have to put yourself first sometimes, especially in this field of study, because you will get lost in giving for others, and then you're done. And I'll give you an example of that myself over quarantine. Everything shut down and all of my clients were coming to me, please write me out workouts, please. And that was fine. It was great. I was very appreciative of it. But I found myself, I didn't work out. It was about for 4 weeks because all I was doing was FaceTiming my clients when they were exercising. And that's fine, again, but I felt horrible as a person. So if it's something that you find joy in for yourself and you need to stay on top of your own body to be able to give your body, as far as your energy, your time, your focus to your clients. So that is something that I will encourage you early on to very much so stay on top of. So let's talk about clients. Average clients for me and for most females are typically going to be weight loss. That just is what it is. And there is nothing wrong with that. If you find yourself only pulling weight loss clients, then you're going to learn that you're going to probably want to get certified in weight loss specialization, just because it's going to give you that capability. I don't have a weight loss certification, but what you learn from your certifications you can use. About me personally, I pull more so of sports rehab and sports performance. In the younger, I used to train girls that were 14, 15, that's what I love to do. As I love to build the muscle. I love to focus on that. And you will pull what you will find the more that you're into it, you're going to draw those crowds. So your average clients are going to be, honestly, if you're female, it's going to be weight loss. So again, there's nothing wrong with that, but learn what your focus is going to be. If you want to work with athletes, then you're going to need to be at a gym that trains athletes, or you're going to need to be at a physical therapy place that helps athletes in recovery. You're going to have to plant yourself in that system if that's where you want to go. But you will find that later on. What I like most about my job, I love everything about my job. I don't think there's anything negative that I can find about mine. People like, you get up at 4 a.m. I'm like, absolutely, I do. But I go back to bed right afterwards. It's fine. But the fact that someone wakes up at 4 a.m. to come see me is enough in itself. I love that. And again, I'm very passionate about that. People trust us to give their life in our hands. And that's a really big deal. And the second that you're not passionate about that, don't sell yourself short or your clients short, because it's not fair to anybody. So stay passionate about it. Really read articles. I read articles 90% of my time from trusted sources. Now, I'm not going to tell you again, don't go in Instagram anything, but find trusted sources and really stay current on everything. And I'm going to wrap it up. I'm sorry, I'm keeping y'all. So just a little bit of advice that I wish I would have known before I started is, again, first, don't put yourself on the back burner. You do matter. You matter a lot. You can't pour from an empty cup. And again, you can't spot someone squatting 200 pounds if you can't squat 20 pounds. Just for an advice. And always keep learning. That's such an important thing. And I hate talking about myself. I don't like to, but I want to show y'all, I'm going to share the screen. The difference of my story. So this is in 2014. That's when I stood on the scale and I was horrified that I weighed 115 pounds maybe. And the next picture, that's in 2019, y'all. That's a 50-pound difference. Honestly, 50 pounds. And so when people are like, oh my gosh, you gained 50 pounds. Absolutely, I did, but my body doesn't look it. And this has been recently. That's 65 pounds difference from the first picture.
It's the muscle, right?
It's muscle. It's muscle. It's muscle. So I don't share that to give you just pictures of myself. I just share that to sorry, it stopped. I share that to show you not everyone's going to want to come and lose 30 pounds and tone up. Y'all, that's a 65-pound difference in 5 years. And people are like, oh my gosh, that's terrifying. You gave 65 pounds. And I'm like, yeah, I did. But I will tell you, I wear the same size clothing the day I delivered my child as I wear right now. So I'm not 9 months pregnant, but what your body is capable of doing, y'all, it's incredible. The human body is so incredible, and it gets me just over the top excited. So I know we do. This is just going to help me with y'all. So are you more interested in training athletes or helping post rehabilitation or for injuries or surgeries? Are you more interested? I think, are the polling questions up?
They should be.
Did they go?
I don't see it.
Are we
but
good?
I don't know if.
How to work it.
Did you launch it?
I pressed launch.
Oh, there you go.
I did. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Now you're good.
Okay. So most of you right now, post rehab, post rehab it's a big deal, y'all. And you will find business. You'll have a lot of business in post rehab. So pretty much across the board. And that's going to be where you're going to want to find your focus. Again, if you're going to want to train athletes, you're going to need to plant yourself where athletes are. Same for post rehab. Find a physical therapist and go to work with them. Don't just watch it on here. They will let you sit there. I promise. Anyone in any profession will let you shadow them if they are if they really care about it. They're going to let you walk around with them. I guess that was, I don't know how to work the polls. I'm not computer literate, y'all. I just train people.
They know that I struggle with technology all the time. So
I'm trying to think of anything else. My advice, don't fall into the fads. Don't fall into the fads. There are 10,000 million fads around right now, but stick to science. Science has been proven. The human body moves for certain reasons, for certain purposes. I'm not trying to walk around and be an Instagram athlete. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not. But what you provide for your people will change their life or it won't. So that's huge, y'all. It's huge. And it makes me excited for you. I remember being right here and I remember wondering what I'm going to do with it. I really didn't find my niche, I guess you could say, until about a year into my training. So don't feel discouraged if you can't figure out what your number one thing is. Like, it will come, I promise. So in that time, I advise you to keep an open mind about everything. Because what you can do with your degree and certifications, you can go anywhere. So don't seclude yourself to one thing. If you hate it, don't do it. Because then you'll regret it, and then it's not fair for anybody. So keep learning, always keep researching, always keep reading, and write everything down. Like I'm like a weird one. Like, I have notebooks everywhere, all over my house, and they have workouts, they have random stuff everywhere. So write everything down. All right, let's see. I think that was, I guess that's my spiel. I talk really fast and I talk really, like, I just get really excited and I just can't contain myself.
I'm the same way sometimes. So, okay, did you want to open it up for questions?
Yeah, absolutely. I hope any of that made sense. I have all these notes and then I just ramble and then I just love what I do.
That's awesome. That's all that matters. All right. So
yes, absolutely. If there's any questions, yes. Y'all are so quiet, like it's 9 a.m. at a college Zoom course.
I have a question.
Oh, we got one.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I was wondering, the whole process of making your own name kind of into your own business, like what would be your advice in terms of both the foundation or basis you would need before the resources you would need before to be able to do that? And then how was the process in itself of creating your own business name?
Okay. First things first, liability insurance. And that is such a huge thing. You can find liability insurance anywhere. That was my number one thing before I made my business my business. I made sure I had liability insurance, which I already had it, but that was something that was a non-negotiable. So as far as going to get it done, I've known several people do it online. I personally went to my tax advisor / accountant, and you file through the state of Georgia. It's super easy. I was very fortunate enough because my tax guy did it. He didn't charge me to pay for it. You will have to pay a fee to get your name, but then maybe like 3 days later, you get a letter in the mail and you will have an EIN number, which is your tax ID number, which will allow you to do anything for your business. It's the same thing as using your social, but it makes you official with the state. So as far as getting it done, I would honestly sit down and talk with the person that does your taxes if you have someone, because then they will give you everything you need to know about what you need to keep up with, how you need to file everything, because that is also another thing that you do have to account for, is being an independent business owner. I am an LLC, and some people like to do a sole proprietor. Some people like to do a limited liability company. So I did choose an LLC just for in the future where my goals I have personally for myself as a business. So really, I would advise you to sit down and talk with someone that can file stuff like that, because they can give you every breakdown of what, who, what, when, where, why, essentially. But first things first, have liability insurance, and you're going to want to file under what you are as a type of business. So even if it's a personal trainer certification, it doesn't have to be anything huge. Have something in paper that gives you an official name.
All right, anybody else? Anybody?
Y'all are so quiet. The older you get, the more you talk. It's fine.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
did COVID affect you?
That's a great question. It was very difficult. Very difficult. I rented out a building that I taught classes in, and the building itself shut down. I would have still continued to teach classes there, but the building was closed. So there for a while, pretty much everything shut down, those first 2 or 3 weeks where everyone, so I didn't train or teach any courses for about 3 weeks. I did stay on top of my clients through FaceTime, through texting. After that first initial scare went away, I started back my classes outside. I just made it to a point where no one touched the same equipment. No one came within 6 feet of each other. So it was very difficult. Again, in this industry, if you don't work, you don't get paid. And that's something that you rely on. So, and I think for anyone that had to shut down, it was very difficult, but it's been cool seeing how people rally in different ways to continue exercising. Now, some people, again, let it have an excuse for them to fall off the wagon, and that's fine. But others were so much more in tune with it because they were tired of sitting around. So it's had a lot of pros and cons. Cons is that it shut everything down, and it was very difficult because I love what I do. I genuinely love what I do. And it was more difficult of not being able to do it, honestly, than anything, because the money will come. Find something that you love and the money will follow. I promise that.
Okay, anybody else? Question?
I have one more question.
Okay.
I was just curious because you said you kind of found out what you wanted to do a year into your training. Like, how old were you around that time? When
Hold
you
on, let me count.
wanted to be a personal trainer?
When I found out I wanted to be a personal trainer, that was in 20, 15, excuse me, I'm counting back. So that was 5 years ago. So I was 26. I was not initially into the personal training, but I've always been into the human body. So I was actually a stay-at-home mom at that point. And again, like I said, I've always been very active, but I was missing a calling to that. And when I started with a trainer, I knew in that sense that this was what I was meant to use. I have a very obnoxious, loud voice and an energy that is like, it's always level 100. But that's what I knew that I was meant to be used for, because I do love the human body and it's so fascinating to me. And it was just a light bulb, I just knew in that moment.
That makes sense.
I have a question.
Mhm.
How much of your revenue when you're renting out, or when you're renting out a building, how much of your revenue went towards the building rent? And then my other question is, looking back on this time of like COVID and all of that, would you prefer to continue to rent out a gym, or would you prefer to just work out of your home and then go to other people's gyms?
That's a great question. So I was very fortunate with the building that I was renting out. I actually know the owner of the building, and it was not being used. So when I tell you the rates that I got for the building was just insanely cheap, it was insanely cheap. So not even out of 100% revenue, not even 15% of my revenue went to the building. Now, obviously, you're going to need to realize, like, it's important for you to make money. Obviously, it's very important. You can't give away everything for free. But if it's going to be more than half, then you're going to need to really refocus, because you just can't work to pay bills. Like that's not. Now, first starting out, let me just go ahead and say this. It's going to be wise for you to give away some free time of yourself. Find friends that will let you train them for free so people can see you in the gym training people. That's going to be very wise as far as marketing yourself. But when you come to a point that, I'm just not trying to do it just to hand over money to the landlord. So be wise, and as far as fill out your spaces and take notes on numbers and give yourself a trial run. If you had 10 people at $10 for an hour class, it's going to be $100. If you're paying $20 for the building, then you're going to go away with $80 in an hour. So really, it's going to be, I'm a numbers cruncher. Some people don't like numbers. I like numbers. If you're into numbers, do it off your head. If you're not, write it out, have charts that's going to be worth your while. As far as after COVID, me personally, I love to go to people's homes and train them. And I love to train in my home. I'm not stuck on a gym, only because I have seen the uncomfort levels of so many people. And whether they realize it or not, it holds them back. Now, if I see people like making my people uncomfortable, I will tap you on the shoulder and absolutely address you to the face. Like I don't tolerate that. But I do know that, like one of my clients that has just had gastric, she's just lost 60 pounds and she is very uncomfortable. And that's okay. But it's important for me to make wherever she is at comfortable. And she's most comfortable at my home. And again, I have a full setup here, so that's fine. So you make it work for your people. Now, I have 2 or 3 clients that are most comfortable at their home. And I do have everything I need to travel. I don't make my clients provide their own at their own home. So that's something that you will have to invest for your business. I do have a full range of dumbbells that I bring, ropes, kettlebells, slam ball. I have everything to train people at their homes. So that is going to be something that you're going to need to decide if you prefer it or not. Now, I know some trainers that hate it. I love it. I personally actually love to travel to people just because they have no inhibitions generally at their own house, and they will do whatever you ask them to do whenever, and they'll push. But that, again, you will find that out with your own if you like to travel or not.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else? We got about 10 minutes.
I have a question. I'm just
Go for
curious. I'm curious for most trainers, do they feel like the other trainers are competition or colleagues?
That's a great question. It should never feel like competition. If it does, because anyone can eat. There's plenty of food at the table. When I was at corporate, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trainers there, and sometimes it did feel a little snarky, which that's corporate. You're going to get that anywhere you work, but find what sets you apart. Now, I was the only female there that could specialize in heavy lifting. There were no other female trainers there that could take someone through a legitimate, I call it like a bro lift day, like training session like a man could. So that really set me apart, because there are some females that wanted to do that were not willing to train with a man. There was also another trainer there that was a vegetarian. I am very much a meat eater. I'm very much a steak and potatoes girl. But that set him apart, because there are some people that chose to be vegetarians. And again, that's fine. That's their personal preference. But those people did not come to me, because I'm going to look at them and be like, go eat a steak. That's just me. So it shouldn't feel so much like competition, because the more you focus on setting yourself apart, the more that people will gravitate to you for why you're set apart. And also making sure you have certificates that other people don't have. That's a big one, whether that be speed and agility. There's a lot of, like, I guess, middle school coaches and stuff that try and teach speed and agility, and they aren't actually certified in that. So what could set you apart is you could have mama and daddy saying, listen, I need little Timmy to work on his footwork. I see you're specialized in that. I'm going to pay you separately outside of that, and you're going to double up that money. Because we all know parents with kids with sports will pay whatever money they need to. So being smart about stuff like that, set yourself apart, and then there's really no competition. It does get difficult in the sense of when you're working alongside trainers and you see them making someone break their back in squats. It's very difficult. It's hard. It's hard to not overstep your boundaries, but at the same time, be so solid in where you stand and your certifications and your knowledge that people will come to that, because they know that you are solid where you stand.
Thank you very much.
All right. Anybody else? Last chance.
I think I have one.
Okay.
So I don't want to like overstep, but is there like a client you struggle with per se? Because you said weight loss is really what comes to you.
That's a really good question. I will say it's me as a female. It is difficult having females my age that are trying to lose 60 plus pounds. It is difficult, because you never want to make your client feel less as a person. And that's tricks that you will learn. Little things like, if they're doing push-ups, you're on the ground with them, never standing over a client, never making them feel less than. And even, and this sounds crazy, but I know that you'll understand, like, start them out at the lightest weight possible, even weights that they're going to be too light, because they're going to look at you and say, that's too light, let's up that weight. Doing stuff like that, making yourself less than so they can be more, is going to be such a big kicker. It is difficult for me, because sometimes females get a little testy, and they judge themselves on your appearance. And again, it's not my fault that I take pride in my body and how I look. So you have to really not take that personally. Like, it's not that my fault. They're not mad at me. They're upset at themselves. So really, personal training is not just the body, it's the mind too. You have to be willing to have some ugly conversations with these people. Ugly is in the sense of you cry with them if they're crying, because they hurt. And it's that fact of you're going to have to be emotional with these people, tap into that, because that is where true change is going to happen. But as far like, I've trained men, like, I'm different than the average female. I don't care. Like if a man comes to me and says, I trust your expertise, like absolutely, come on, let's go squat. Like 100%. Being confident in you, people will thrive off of that. They will thrive. But also knowing that, again, with that man, like if he was doing push-ups, he was in great shape. I was on the floor with him because I'm not over him. And you will learn tricks like that will help you ease that. But it is difficult for me to have weight loss clients because, if I ask them to do jumping jacks or they feel ashamed of themselves and they think that I'm judging, but I'm not, because we're all one decision away from from not treating our body the way it needs to be treated. So staying humble in that opinion, because that could be me in her shoes. I just chose to take a different path. So never forget that. And it's one of those things like don't flex on yourself a little bit, like stay humble in that sense.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got time for one more. Does anybody have one more question?
Someone finish it out.
Yeah. Anybody? Those are good questions, though.
They were great questions. Yes, thank y'all.
Okay, well, it looks like we are out of questions. But again, Haley, thank you so much for taking the time to, talk to us this morning and share your knowledge. I do have one question for you. For this class, I think I mentioned to you, they have a final project.
Mm-hmm.
So part of that is doing an informational interview with a professional in the field of kinesiology that they're kind of interested in pursuing. If any of the students kind of wanted to reach out and kind of connect with you to complete that interview, would you be okay with that?
100%.
Awesome.
And
Okay.
I would love to, if someone wanted to meet face to face, we could, I could come up to the college, wherever. I'm flexible. Again, that's the beauty of having this job. You can make your schedule flexible.
Yes, flexibility is so nice.
Yes. So if you want to meet face to face, I would be more than happy. We can go grab a coffee, or food. I'm always down for food.
Yes, me too. Well, awesome. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was so nice, to finally, we've been trying to connect for so long. And so, it was so nice to finally connect.
I know.
So,
see, now it's our turn. We're going to go meet at the gym and y'all can come you can interview us at the gym.
right? Let's go get a workout in. Let's go.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank
okay.
you for your time, everybody.
Absolutely. Well, if any students reach out to me, I'll just kind of share your email with them if that's okay.
Absolutely. That's great.
But other than that, thank you again so much.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you everybody for coming.
Bye.